And we are here. Welcome to Road to Blake Street Banter, where we both are here to banter about the kids on the road. Still working on an intro there. Need something different than Blake Street Banter there. But Mike, say what's up.
What up, what up? Fun week for us.
Yes, this is exciting stuff. So all the haters can be quiet. But I gotta talk about myself as we let people come in here, right? So I was running late tonight. You did all the groundwork. So huge props to you for like holding down the fort, because like seriously, without you, like this ain't going. Huge shout out to you. But I was doing it because I finally get to play competitive sports again. I signed up for a old man softball league, and we had our first practice. It's the first time I've ever played anything competitive since pre-COVID, and that's more because having kids takes up a lot of my time rather than the COVID stuff. But I got a nice little compliment. I got asked if I played baseball in college, so I think I still got it.
Ooh, what's the power grade looking like out of 80?
Oh, we're like 20. we're low. I might
Contacted.
get one. Yeah, high contact. We're gonna look to go the opposite way and try to sneak one by them, try to get a triple out of it. But it was just good being out there. Still got it, and I can only imagine. Like I wasn't very good at all in high school. But like I'm thinking of like some of these guys, like they retire and like they're just done playing, and like they're dogs. They're just dominating the AAA field. Like, what are they gonna look like on an old man softball league? Like, they're just gonna go out and dominate.
Yeah, some of these guys that won't be like once they're like 35, they're gonna dominate their church league softball. Like they're just gonna put up Charlie Condon numbers.
Just massive numbers. It's gonna be awesome. Like that would be the first thing. I think it was it Eric Burns? Might have been before your time. I think Eric Burns like went and played old man softball when he like retired, and there's clips of it. He just like 120 exit velocity. It was just stupid, just absolutely stupid. But enough about me. Anything good going on in your life? You got anything going on?
School finished. I've been dog sitting these early, like every Monday I dog sit. That's why I'm at my parents' house right now.
Nice.
Nothing much. I'm moving out to an apartment in a couple months, so just sign the lease. So
big boy stuff there. All right, love that. Hopefully, you know how to do laundry.
I will
give you the R&D number, the Rockies R&D number if you need it. But let's talk good stuff here. All right, so new MILB rankings came out, top 100. A lot of graduations. Because we're about 40 days into the season. That's usually when a rookie accumulates enough playing time to be considered a rookie, right? The major leaguer full time. So we had a few graduations based on time from last year to time on this year. And the Rockies have the second most prospects in the top 100. Can you guess the one team that has zero? At least a team that has zero.
I can. I'm using them in Out of the Park Baseball, which is an addiction, that game. It is the Angels, though they do have a lot of young guys in the majors. They push them up immediately, but yeah, it's brutal.
It is brutal. Like, it could always be worse, Rocky fans. Like, you could be an Angels team who didn't get what they could have out of Ohtani. They have Mike Trout, but is often injured. And then your next best player is Anthony Rendon, who has been killing it. Is dominating, has a great season, but barely wants to be there. So you could be that, or you could be the St. Louis Cardinals, who are just terrible at losing, have no idea what to do, and only have 3 top 100 prospects.
And Nolan might be on the trade block, so let's make a move. Let's go bring him home.
Dude. Montero straight up for
Montero and Gomber.
for right or wrong. I mean, I kind of like Gomber. I like Monty too, but it might be time to kind of figure out what's up next with who's behind him. But let's get into it. So we're going to go through the 6. I'm going to kind of give our feel, kind of things that we've noticed, some news, kind of their future. Just kind of most of this time is just going to be spent talking about these 6, because why not? We do our best covering the prospects, the ones that you don't know about. Like, go look at what Mike clipped up about Isaiah Cope and his spinning 9 strikeouts the other day. Jace Kaminsko, dog. Drew Romo, dog. Like, we can go down the line. We can give you all the other things. Carson Skipper, 0 earned runs in his 13 innings of work in Spokane. And
we'll gloss over them today, but they're not going to get their full episode. Like
no. So we are going into these 6, these top 100, and we're just going to go in chronological order. Do we want to go high to low or low to high?
I think we should go high to low, or Amador first because I like how we end the top 100. I think is the most exciting one. So
right.
Make him
So
wait.
Adele Amador started the preseason in the top 100, which was obvious unless you're Keith Law, who's whatever. But Adele Amador was number 25 on that preseason list for MLB.com, or 24. He is now sitting at 34. He has dropped 10 spots in the first month and a half of baseball. Why? Tell us why.
He's just not producing at even close to a level that we know he can. His whole thing was contact. He's going to get on base. He's not the power. He's not going to like blow you away, but he's not hitting the ball well. He's hitting a lot of ground balls. He's giving the infielders work. He's still not striking out even at an even better rate than he ever was. He's like at like 7%, something insane like that I've ever written down. But and the walks are up, the strikeouts are down, which is like you look at that and you're like, hey, this guy's going to improve. Like in a vacuum, if I gave you those stats before the season, you're like, Amador's doing great. But we look at the on-base percentage, which is still 321, but he's just not hitting the ball. Even he has a couple bunt base hits this year, which like, how much is that really worth? He does have a couple like hard hit balls that are just directly at an outfielder, but you don't hit for 124 average and it be unlucky. It's something you're doing. And I think the approach is off. I think he's changed the approach since last year. We've seen that with more ground balls. I almost want him to go back to the original approach, even though he struggled last year in Double-A. But I think it'll do him wonders if he goes back.
Whatever that might be, because I'm trying to bring up the Fangraphs where you're talking. So, like you said, all the good numbers are getting better. Like you look at the strikeout percentage, but let's just look at Fangraphs. His ground ball rate, I don't know if you actually said it. You said he was hitting on the ground a lot. Is at 59%, which is, nope, I lied. 63%. It actually got higher. And single high A last year, he was at a 56 clip. So he's a ground ball guy, right? But if you're hitting it 8% more on the ground, his ground ball to fly ball ratio is 3-1. Where in Spokane, when he was dominant, was 2-1. So it's not
those
good.
Ground balls in single A, they get through more often. The defenders aren't as rangy. It's just the nature of it. Even in Spokane, it'll happen. He needs to elevate the ball. I mean, he's not elevating the ball at all. And when he is, it's not hard contact. Like he doesn't have a home run this year. I think he has. Does he have an extra base hit? I don't think he does. He's just not getting those extra base hits. And his speed has looked really good. Like even when he does get on base, which he gets on base a lot. He leads the team in walks or 20 walks. When he gets on base, he does great things. He's able to really disrupt double plays. I think he does that really well. Defensively with the glove, he's going to be a value at second base. But second baseman, they're second baseman because they're not good enough to be shortstop. That's just the realistic approach in the position. So you need someone who's going to sit there and be an offensive threat. Amador can be. He has all the tools. I mean, you can't teach zone awareness, and he has some of the best awareness of the zone that in all of minor league baseball. You can't teach that. So that's why I still hold him with high regard because he does the things that you can't teach so well.
And I think that's what's carrying him right now. Even though he's dropped 10, he's still a top 40 prospect, even with all the graduations and stuff. But there is a little bit of concern with that power bat. And I think that's what Keith Law actually said he was a little worried about, which hurts me to say out loud. Like he was just like, I just don't know if he has that power, that hit tool to like really take it to that next level, which is, I mean, it's kind of holding itself true right now. High 54% pull rate, 32% opposite field rate. It's just, and I wish we had exit velocity numbers because I think that tells a lot about how well somebody's hitting. And like a few of the games I've watched, like he's hitting the ball fairly hard, but then there's also time just like you got fooled, whatever, something's missing in the game plan or however you're doing it. So like he has it, like you can see that he has it, but it's what's missing. And that's all the haters are going to hate. Like, well, here goes the Rockies development, blah, blah, blah. And shove it up your butt. But that it's just, are we panicking yet on Adele Amador? Let's see, hold on. Let me see how many at-bats he has. Okay, Double-A is not going to tell me quickly on Fangraphs. Double-A bats, we're at 122.
Yeah. I did the math last night. If he needs like 15 to 16 straight hits to get to 250 batting average. So I think we're like 2 weeks away from this completely becoming a season stat disaster. You know, even if he turns it around, you're going to look back and be like, oh, that's his on base. That's his average. Like, that doesn't look good, even though there's a story to that. Like, you start this bad, your stats aren't – law of averages don't help that much. They're not in actuality. He's not going to hit 500 in the next 3 months. I hope he does, but he probably won't.
Cool. Right.
And he probably won't ever really come back from this, even if he has a strong second or 2/3 of the month of the year.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to look up what our boy Drew Romo did last year. I'm not going to find it. There was a cool little chart that I wanted to see how much he struggled out of the box. I'm not going to be able to find it in time. So it's a thing.
It was like this last year too in Double-A. He wasn't
right there. Like his year now is what it was last year in his 50 at bats last year. Like this is what he showed last year. Where Yakiel, we're seeing a little bit of progress. Like his K rate, percentage walk rate have been increased, and he's still finding his power stroke. But I don't know. I think if this continues into middle of June, it might be a little bit of concern. But as of now, the strikeout walk rate stuff still gives me some belief. And he does have the track record at different levels to figure it out. So Adele Amador at number 34, still a top prospect, but it's dropping quite a bit. So just something we're watching. Again, the Eastern League is stacked. And there's a whole bunch of reports about the AAA stuff. AAA level almost being like a wash about what to do with the prospect. But we're not even going to get to that because none of these guys are in the AAA. Yeah, no topes on this list, which wouldn't expect it. Like very few probably in the top 100 on the AAA.
It shows the Rockies, they clearly don't value the AAA PCL as like a learning, like, hey, we're going to learn how good this guy is. They don't really think of that in the PCL.
Right. So it'll be something we're watching for, like that AAA thing, like you just said, like how much are the Rockies putting into it, or how much is this Amador thing true or not? So we'll see.
I would love to see him in the AAA with the automated strike zone. I would wonder if that would help him.
Then, yeah, don't get me started on that too. Like it might help those traditional numbers, right? But like progression and development,
it wouldn't help him at all. But like,
I don't think it's helping anybody right now.
No.
Again, different topic, different conversation. Let's move on. Chase Dollander. Now, this is a guy that we can not really have too many questions on right now. Is number 42 on the list. Do not know where he was at the beginning of the year. Maybe while you talk about him, I can find the old Instagram post. But what's making Chase Dollander so good right now?
It's his strikeout ability. He leads. I think he's third in MiLB in strikeout per 9. It's like 13, something insane. And we knew that coming out of college, out of Tennessee. Like they produce ball players. His stuff is really good. I question the breaking control, like especially the slider. I question the control there. His fastball is straight up one of the more fun pitches to watch in all of the system. The last game he had, he kind of got beat up a little bit. He allowed a good couple walks. He allowed a home run, a couple hits. He goes out with only 2 earned runs. It's because he struck out everybody when it mattered. He goes. I think what happens is he pitches, and then when he gets into trouble, he goes, "Hey, let me lock in. Let me just fastball." And his fastball. When he can locate his high fastball, it's unhittable right now. Now, Spokane, no one's doing anything offensively in Spokane. So Hartford is when I will really start judging Dollander. But if you guys remember, 2022, he was like one of the best pitching prospects we've ever seen. 2023, the control's off a little bit. He has a little bit of a down year. He slides to 9. The question was, hey, are we getting 2022 or 2023? I think we're closer to 2022, but again, I want to see him in Hartford first.
Yes, I would agree with everything you just said. It's not, you said Spokane, nobody's hitting in Spokane. It's nobody's hitting in the Northwest League.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. And because, I think I said on the last pod, the home runs are down 40% across the league. And you can see it with our own guys, let alone the whole thing. Like Cole Carrig and Kyle Karras might lead the Indians with extra base hits, but they might have 1-2 home runs combined. So just hitting wise, it's hard. But Chase Dollander, like, we haven't seen this kind of strikeout ability in a long time. The one thing I'm looking at here on the Fangraphs that's kind of standing out to me, the left on base percentage is 88.7%, which I don't know what the league average is, but I know 88.7% is high. Like, that's insane. The walks are a little high, 3.7 walks per 9, which is something I'll be a little worried about. But in the long ball, he's giving up about 1 long ball per 9 as well. Yeah. So, like, figuring that out a little bit, but that left on base percentage is fairly nice. And that's going to match well with that 15.9%.
That's just the key. Like, when you have the ability to strike out any batter, like, you go bases loaded, no outs, all of a sudden, like, you get 1 out and then a double play. Like, it's way easier if you can just strike out people. I know that's, like, common sense, and most people say that, but, like, when you're that good at it, it becomes way easier to, like, find a way to get out of innings.
And that's the thing that, like, the Rockies really haven't had since, honestly, like, in the prospect world, like, since Joe Rock last year. Like, it's, you see a guy that's going to go out and get 10 strikeouts every single time. And if he doesn't get 10 strikeouts, there's a concern. There's something weird going on, whether it's the game plan or whatnot. Like, Sean Sullivan, I think, had like 1 or 2 strikeouts this week, which is super weird. Yeah. But he was pitching to contact. He had like a 6-pitch inning, but like the game plan for the Hops was like, all right, we're going to go up there, we're going to swing, we're going to hack. And that's what we're going to do. And so, like, how do these guys adjust and figure out, manipulate their stuff to get these guys? So, I mean, there's not much left he can prove, like you said, in Spokane. Like, there's just the talent level that he's against. It's clear that he's above and beyond.
We knew he was above this too, like, drafting him. Like,
yeah, we
thought this would be a short stop, and we're still here in May 13th, and he's still no rumblings yet.
Right, but this is what the Rockies do. There's very little. They do everything in mass. And if you've been listening to us for a long time, like for a few weeks now, it's mid-May. Like this week, I think, when we get some of these ACL rehab starts coming back and like, all right, this guy's ready to go, I think that's when we start adjusting and moving, especially the pitchers like Sean Sullivan, Chase Dollander, and Palmquist. 1, 2, 3 heads with Andrew Quezada in the back end, which is insane. Like that's the Hartford 4. Like, it needs to happen soon, and I think that happens when we get some of these injuries coming back.
And I like Albright as the 5th. He's like, I think he's the youngest pitcher in the Eastern League right now. So like, you have that as your 5th. Like, I love, if that's the lineup in a month from now, Hartford's must watch every night. Well, it already is, but even more.
Yeah. Mason Albright's only 21, and he was born in November. So like, this is his age 21 season. So yeah, he's definitely one of the younger ones. I didn't know he was that young, and he's had 2 like back-to-back solid starts.
Yeah.
Chase Dollander was number 52 on the preseason rankings. So he's gone up. What did we say? He's number 42. So he's gone up 10. So our aggregate, we're average right now between the two. Our aggregate's solid.
I imagine that's the natural progression. I imagine there's 10 guys ahead of him that graduated.
Yeah, you're hoping. You got to imagine. Yeah, because there's at least 10.
Because we saw like with the draft guys, usually what happens is they'll put them in the top 100. We saw this with Hughes, and then like they'll quickly take him out. Like Hughes got taken out of the top 100 of prospects very quickly. He was like, I think he was 70 for a minute. Yeah, and he's staying there, so that's awesome for Dollander.
Yes. So when does he get called up? Everybody make your predictions right now. Tweet it right now because nobody's in the chat, but I think that might be on StreamYard. When is he getting promoted? So when is he getting promoted to AA? Make your predictions. When exact date? I want all of it. Maybe we'll give a card because we got some cards being donated to us for giveaways, which is pretty dope. So thank you, Grant, for that. Huge shout out. Like he sent me a picture of the stuff he was sending. I was like, dude, you're doing way too much. But so this pod is sponsored by Grant Hankins. Find him on the Twitter sphere. And dude, if you got an eBay to plug, holler at your boys, Grant. Like we'll plug it. You're a great new, like I feel like you're new to the Rockies community. I don't know how we didn't know about you before this.
If you ever pull like a Tovar card that's like 1 of 1, go ahead and just shoot him a DM, he'll buy it off.
Like you don't even have an idea of what you want to pay, and he'll probably pay. Like, oh, he's listening. Somebody's on our YouTube there. So
you got to get Grant on the pod one time.
Yes. So yeah, we should have like a fun little card thing. I want to get some fans on. If you are listening, I did send you an email in February. Hey, friend pod, come on up, fan pod. And life is busy. Summertime's closing up, coming soon. So we're going to do a fan pod soon for sure. Let's have some fun with it. Let's move to Yankiel Fernandez, number 60. He was originally preseason number 72. Just those numbers surprise me because Brody has struggled out of the gate. It's pretty insane that he's actually gone up 12. I love Yank. Like I think he's a little bit different than Amador, right? Like he's completely different than Amador. Let me.
He's gonna win in a different way.
It's just like he's gonna do something different. So what is making Yankiel move 12 marks up the ranking system here?
This feels like I shouldn't really be talking about it because a lot of the smart guys are the people that are pushing Yank up the list. And if you hear people talk about Yank like scouts, they'll talk about things like he'll make adjustment mid-swing and that can deliver more power. They love his power potential. And that's the stuff that a guy like me watching a Hartford stream, I can't pick up on. And that's the stuff that I'm glad that we have Fangraphs Baseball America because they're really pulling that stuff for us. The scouts that are watching this guy play like in person love this guy's power ability. I question he's not a base runner. He has a good arm, but he's not a great athlete. So he's going to be a corner guy, right? With a corner guy, you want a lot of power. He's not showing the amount of power that is advertised right now. And I wonder. I wrote in the rundown. I don't think he's going to have enough power in the MLB to overcome the not being a good base runner or a good defender. So I question the spot for Yank, but then again, the smart people love it. So who am I to say? Like this guy, the reason he's here is because scouts love this guy, and scouts know more than us. So there's that.
Yeah. Skyler, thank you for popping in before you get your abs on. Completely get it. 100%. I got the Rockies on in the background. It's busy. Playoff in Denver. Like, I'm surprised anybody's there. So go have fun, big dog. I mean, to that point, though, it is super cold in Northeast. It's very hard to hit in the cold. And a guy, I mean, he spent time in Spokane last year. I do think there is something hitting for power in the cold, especially when you don't have any consistency. Like every week they seem to have a game postponed or canceled. So finding that consistency. I mean, in 100 at bats, Yankiel has 3 doubles, 2 home runs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 5% of his at bats are extra base hits, 17 singles. So 22, like he's hitting for average 247. Strikeout percentage has gone down, which sometimes you kind of see strikeout percentage goes down as well as power. Like it seems like they're working on something. His walk rate has gone up. I would agree with you. Like he's a corner guy, but there's this thing called the DH where if we just have like an Edgar Martinez-esque DH, like if we can just establish a big dude that can come up to the bigs, strike out 22% of the time, hit for a home run every third game, I'm okay with that out of the DH spot. Like, give me that all day. And I think Yankiel's kind of leaning into that with the ability to, all right, you need me gun somebody out at home, I can do that.
He can't. He does have a good arm. I'll give him that.
Has a cannon.
But I will say, I think it was last week, they lost a game by 1, and I think he had an error that led up 2 runs, in the outfield. So definitely DH. If you can find a path where this team we have a DH that's cleared, wide open, like, hey, we have our outfielders set. We just need a power bat. And if he's a DH of the future, I'm not mad about it. If he can hit like 40 home runs, which is a lot, if he can hit 40 home runs, hey, you don't have to do anything in the field, man. Just go out there and hit 40 home runs a year. You're good. I like that potential. I think that's probably what the scouts see is like almost like Judge didn't hit. I'm not saying he's Judge, but Judge didn't hit that many home runs in the minors. But everybody was like, oh, this guy, all the scouts were like, this guy's power tool is insane. Granted, he's not Judge, but you get the point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on to that point, looking at the fan graphs, Zip's 3 years projections. So at his age 23 season, which again, like
So
all these guys we're talking about are so
one
young.
of the
I think
youngest in the Eastern
what
League.
Chase Dollander is probably the oldest. His age 23 season, they're projecting him to have 21 homers with a 25% strikeout percentage. Walk rate's at 5. So he's gonna swing and miss. He is a free swinger. Very Aaron Schunk in that idea, but like I don't think I'm mad. I would want a little bit more, I think, from a DH role than 21 homers and 30 doubles. I think I would want a little bit more out of that. But the potential to be a 30 homer guy is there, which we haven't seen in such a long time, especially at Coors. Like you can see it kind of playing out that way. I just think going forward, it's really just like, all right, how can we keep this ball walk-in strikeout percentage rate while finding that power stroke? Like it's clear he's working on something. Last year, again, last year in 218 plate appearances, Yankiel Fernandez had a 32% strikeout rate. And like that did not get better as the season went on. Like it was 30 plus the entire time he was there. This year so far, 100 plate appearances about half the time at 25%. So it's clearly that he's working on something. That's why he's getting those singles. So like, all right, let's progress to that power stroke. Let's get to that next part. So that's going to be something I'm going to watch, especially as the weather starts getting a little bit warmer.
He's going to be a wins above replacement weird player because I think if he plays like that, he's going to have a negative WAR, but I also still think he'll bring value to the team. So he'll be one of those guys that WAR kind of doesn't work for. And there's a couple of those guys, especially when you're so good at one thing. It does kind of happen.
Yeah, I mean his WRC plus
88.
Yeah, it's sub 100. Yeah, it's 86, 88%.
Which I think he's like the third youngest outfielder in the Eastern League. Like he's still super young. I think he'll be here all year. I don't think Albuquerque's not calling him. I think he'll be here all year. I want to see him just slowly progress. And if he can hit like a couple home runs between now and end of June, then I feel a lot better about this.
Right. Yeah. Like let the man eat in Hartford. Kind of like what we were just talking about the last guy. Just AAA. I don't know if it's it. So let's let him figure it all out in AA and let's let him go do Goodman, Tolia, Montero, Hilliard numbers in AAA next year to prepare him ready to go out the gate. Next up,
I guess
Sterling Thompson, 92 on the list. At preseason, I don't think he was on the list.
He made it. He made it to the number 100 a couple weeks ago.
Yes. Yeah, he got promoted late, moved up late. So Sterling Thompson, 92 on the list. What does he bring to the table, Mike?
I love Sterling Thompson because I think I have like a grasp of what he'll be. The reason why I love Ryan Ritter so much is because like I kind of just know who Ryan Ritter is as a player, and there's not much thinking that has to go on with it. And with Sterling Thompson, like you're getting a really good at bat, right? And you're getting someone who's going to be hard at bat for every pitcher. He's going to work counts. He's going to make good contact. I think Sterling Thompson, I wrote down the rundown. He has a future of like, he's going to be an above average player for a decade because he brings a professionalism in his at bat that you don't see in the minor leagues. And he started off the season really slow. He is on fire this past couple of weeks. Like we talk about Veen, we'll talk about Veen next. It's been Veen and Sterling Thompson like right now. It's been those two, and they've been killing it. Even home runs he's been hitting. His power it's probably not going to be amazing in the MLB. Like he's probably going to hit double digits maybe, but I think he'll be a great at Coors 280 to 300 average guy, and he'll get on base. He's going to be something in the lineup that we don't have right now for the Rockies, and that's what I'm so excited for. Like he's just a different type of player instead of like we just talk about Yank where it's like high power, high strikeout. Like welcome to the Rockies, right? Like high strikeout. But with this guy, I think you're getting a professional at bat. He's going to make contact. He's going to be able to drive a lot of singles, but he's not going to be flashy. And I don't think he's going to be a great defender. And base running is going to be meh. But I think he's going to be really good at bat every chance he gets.
Every single time. And that was his whole MO, right? That was his bat to ball skills, his good bats. Like we talked about Adele Amador's zone coverage. I mean, Sterling Thompson's walked 12 times in 114 at bats, 22 strikeouts in that time. That translates to a 10% walk rate, 17% K rate, like dominant. And that's who Sterling Thompson is going to be. Fangraphs projects him to be a 20% strikeout guy in the majors, 6% walk guy in the majors, which is walk rate's a little bit lower than average, but the K rate's right there. So if he can keep that there, projecting 10 home runs, 20 RBI, 20 doubles, I think he has a little bit more power in his bat there. He already has 2 home runs on the season. I think he's at 5 doubles and 2 triples. So like he has some power there. And we just talked about how hard it is to hit for power in the Eastern League right now. It's kind of what the opposite of what Yankeel's doing, right? Like Yankeel's trying to be more like Sterling, and Sterling's trying to be more like Yankeel. And like, if we can just find that happy medium, let's make it merge. And yeah, you're right, Grant. The Rockies score first, and which I saw Doyle on second, and I was like, all right, how'd he get there? With the walk, stolen base, and then Monty drove him in. So
2020.
My 2020 is coming into play. We're at eight stolen bases on the season for Doyle there. But like he's learning first base. You can tell he's very uncomfortable if you watch him defensively at first base. But he's athletic enough to play second or third or corner outfield. Like he's that super utility guy, like where I think he could actually be productive wherever you put him. He can be an everyday guy.
Player. Sorry for cutting you off. He's the type of player that at the deadline teams are just looking for. That guy that they can play anywhere and that can hit. And he kind of reminds me of Jonathan Daza, but with more. Like Jonathan Daza plus, kind of. Like you have more tools to work with. Which Daza was like a league average player. So if that's the baseline, you got more power in there, more positional versatility, whether you think that's value or not. Like I think you're a 2 to 4 WAR player, is what I said.
Yeah, I think that's right on. His raw power is 45, his game power is 40. I mean, those were the Fangraph rankings. So
it was like 20. So like,
yeah, it was pretty ground level there. So I think, I mean, Future Valley, according to Fangraphs, is 45. So it's interesting how he gets seen by everybody else. Like I love Sterling Thompson.
Yeah,
there's just something about that kind of style that we obviously don't have, right? You talked about the strikeouts in the Rockies, like it's terrible, right? So like if you just have a guy that can go work an 8 to 10 pitch at bat, and it can be a ground ball, a ground out, at least it's something. It's a little bit better than the strikeouts in 4 pitches, 5 pitches that we been kind of seeing. So I'm huge on Sterling Thompson. I still think he gets a call up sometime this year. We'll see how the Rockies feel about that. But
I do think I do want to, maybe I'll talk about this later, but the 40-man roster, I don't think there's much of a crunch right now. I think we're one of the few teams where there's multiple people on our 40-man roster that we could DFA and waive and get back, like multiple dudes like that. So I do think we will call up dudes quicker than expected because of that.
Yes, I agree, and yeah, we'll definitely talk about that in a little bit. We're spending more time on this than I was not expecting. I was like, all right, let's do 20 minutes on these 6. No, we're at 35 already. Last but not least, Jordan Beck, who is not in AAA. He is on the Major League roster. He's playing every single day, which is
Veen.
Did we talk about Beck?
No,
we skipped Beck, didn't we?
Dang it. Beck. We have Veen too, so.
Yeah. So, all right. So second to last.
Yeah.
I don't know how we missed Jordan. So Jordan Beck, like obviously I was completely wrong. Tyler was right. I did not think Jordan Beck was going to get the playing time, even with the 40% strikeout rate and the struggles he is seeing at the plate right now. But he is number 66 on this this list, rose 20 spots in the Baseball America rankings. He was number 4 in the MLB.com top 100. Is that right? Yeah. I feel like that's wrong. It seems really high. Was Jordan Beck? There's no way Jordan Beck was number 4.
No, there's no way.
Definitely wrote that.
4 is like an elite prospect.
Yeah, there's no way.
Maybe in the draft, like maybe both year before he came out or something.
I don't know what I did with that. So
field, maybe?
Don't look at our Instagram. Maybe it was our Rockies list. So don't know where he was at the preseason. But what stood out about Jordan Beck before he got the call up, and then why is he sticking around right now?
Yeah, Beck was one of those players that almost like Sterling Thompson, where it's like this guy's gonna play. Like that Tennessee team that he played on, one of the most iconic teams in the world in baseball history. They didn't win, but still, like the dudes in 2022, they had 10 guys in that draft class have made an MLB appearance. 3 of those guys are from the Tennessee team. So there's legit talent on that team. And I think we got one of the best ones because this guy, I think his floor is so high, and it's because his power is there. Out of college, they said he'd be an above average center fielder. I don't think we're there. We're definitely not there. But that just shows you the athleticism he has. He's going to steal bases. He's gonna hit a ball and give you the finger, all right, when he hits a walk-off. That's what's going to happen. He's going to slam the bat down. And his power is ridiculous. I think we look at guys with high power and we go, he's going to strike out a lot. He's going to have a lot of foolish at-bats. I don't think you're going to get that with Beck. We're seeing that right now. But he's a baby in the league right now. Like, everybody struggles. First year, it's whatever. I don't care. Tovar looks bad too. His first, 20, 25 games. I don't care. With Beck, I think you know what you get. My question is with Beck is, hey, how big is this power going to be? Because he's already hit a double. His home run's coming. I don't know if he's playing tonight, but maybe tonight. How much can he hit for power? And that's going to determine how good he really is. But I think he'll play. He'll be a 10-year veteran in this league. I promise that.
Yeah, and I think the whole BSB team echoes that. And this goes back to that point that we were kind of talking about. Like, why are the Rockies actually evaluating players at AAA? Because Jordan Beck actually dominated the AAA in the 25 games he played. But 5 home runs, 24 runs, 28 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, a sub 20K percentage, 15% walk rate, just outlandish, outreal, insane numbers, right? His WRC plus at every single level in the minors has been 100, 108 or higher. And they have not let him play very long at any place more at all. 76 games at Spokane was the most he's played at any level.
That means there's not much to fix. They're not seeing a big issue with the swing,
It was a fast track. And it's all right, we see this guy, he's going to be part of our regular, which is why. I guess it's more of a, okay, what did the Rockies see? And that's nothing against Beck. It's more of, why are the Rockies doing this with Beck and not somebody else? Well,
I want to go to that, and I don't think we should be fast tracking guys. Beck is fine. I think Beck will have a good learning curve. The Angels have fast tracked guys in a year, and they spend a year. Their first year in the MLB is horrific. Nolan Schanuel can't hit a baseball right now, even though he's batting less than 100. I think he got sent down, and that's because he's a mid-major bat. And they put him 35 games in the minors. They put him up there. So Beck, I think you're going to be better than that. But Beck was a college guy, so I think it's fine. And he was already kind of refined out of college. But I don't like this idea that we should be pushing guys up quickly. I kind of want them to develop. What are we rushing? I get it's fun to have them up in the majors, but what are we really? We're taking at-bats away from dudes that we probably shouldn't take at-bats away from. Montero, Bouchard, Goodman, dude rakes. Even now, it's going to be Beck is going to be in that conversation. Hey, let's not take his at-bats away. So I don't really think we should be pushing guys up. Granted, I don't think there's anybody other than Romo, which Romo should be getting the call, that I'd have a problem with. So there's my little PSA. I don't think we should be aggressive. But we also shouldn't be slow. That's right. Awesome.
Yeah, there is a fine line. I love what they're doing with Beck. I think we should do that more often. If you're going to call him up, let him play. And I think they fumbled the bag with Montero last year with that. Finding the inconsistent playing time wasn't good for him to find his stroke. Hey, go down to AAA, find some consistency. Okay, now what? He absolutely dominated. We're here. If you just would have let him struggle and not do the whole whatever Moose, Profar, Castro, blah, 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 blah nonsense, we wouldn't be in this situation with Montero now. All right, is he going to hit? Is he going to do his thing? What is it? So I like the fast tracking because it kind of lets you determine what do you have.
Yeah.
How is that person going to grow throughout the season? Has Jordan Beck gotten better with each at-bat, each game? I would like to say so. I feel his at-bats are a little bit more competitive than they were when they first got called up. So let the man eat and die up here and let him get these 30 games before Nolan and KB get back. And all right, this way you're going to go work down in AAA. You're obviously part of the future, and then come back up.
Yeah, I think there's this false expectation on prospects, and we're kind of seeing it around the league. Kind of saw it with Jackson Holiday, Spencer. I know you're in Detroit. Spencer Torkelson, right? Where it's like he's gonna be a good player. Like give him time. So I don't really care about stats. I know the scouts use. I think it's 1,200 at bats is like a good sample size. So we're nowhere near that. We're like 1% or probably less than 1% in that, or not 10% in that.
Yeah.
So Beck still has a lot of sample size to go before we make a judgment.
So just let him eat. I like what he has. He has the athletic ability. I think I tweeted out there.
It'll be fun.
You have Nolan Jones, Brenton Doyle, Jordan back in that outfield. All that can hit 20 plus homers. All that can steal 20 plus bags. All that can do so many things could happen with those three.
Do you want to know who else can steal bags and hit home runs?
Zach Veen.
Zach Veen.
Let's end this top 100, and then we'll wrap it up real quick. Zach Veen joins the top 100. It's about time. He was number 3 on our BSB list.
Yeah,
he was high.
He was higher than Yank.
So we were right. Everybody else was wrong. Zach Veen, 93rd in the top 100. He had every reason to be out of the top 100 coming into the season. Not dogging anybody for that, but the fact that he's proved that he is there and he's dominating right now is super exciting. Tell us why.
Yeah, I get it. When you click on a baseball reference page, his 2022 and 2023, you're going to look at it and be like, oh, this guy sucks. But there's a story behind that. There's the injury and slow start in AA. That stuff happens. We see it with Amador. Veen looks more like the high schooler that we thought we were going to turn him into than he's ever looked. And he looks insane. I'll say for this right now, Veen is 93, and I think it's because of a technicality. They don't want to raise someone 70 spots. That's not something they're going to professionally do. It looks bad, especially when they miss. That's just not something you want to do. I think he's our top prospect. I think people in the organization look at Veen and say, he's probably our best chance of getting an elite player, a Fernando Tatis, a Vlad, a guy that, Vlad, Fernando, those guys have changed directions of franchises. That's Adley Rutschman, that type of player where it's you're buying his jersey, he's young. Veen has that potential, and he's only 23, even though it feels like he's been in the system for a decade, and he's hitting for power. We talked about how hard it is to hit for power in the cold. I don't know what he's doing because he's warming up already. So he's hitting 5 home runs already. He was, before the season, Fangraphs said in AA this season, he would hit 7 home runs the whole year. He's hit 5, and we're in what's mid-May. So how about that, Fangraphs? There was a pitch earlier, and I want to say last series, it was a ground ball pitcher, pitched him low, and he just golf clubbed it up for 450 feet. It's just all right. The ground ball pitcher, and you're making this guy look foolish for 450 feet. That's what he does. And he's hitting the ball as hard as he ever has. His bat swing's good. All of the numbers you look at for prospects, it's not a red. There's no really worry for it. Is he hitting the fastball? We don't know. We don't have those numbers. I wish we did. I'm sure he is, because if he isn't, they'd just be pitching him fastballs. So there's that. He's the best hitter in the Eastern League, which I think is the most concentrated league for talent, right?
Yes.
Look at the teams in there. You have the Mets, the Phillies. You have the Northeast teams that love their prospects, and he's going up against them, and he's becoming the best player in this league by far. He has a 341 average. It's May 13th, and he's still carrying that. It's not a fluke. This guy in the field, he's great with the glove. I think he should become the future center fielder. If I think we could do that. You never know. He gets on base. He steals bases. What am I missing? Is there a reason I shouldn't be this hyped with Veen? Am I missing something?
I think there's a lot of potential left. I'm the hype train as well. I'm not as hyped as you are there. That was very passionate. That was a nice little soapbox you had there. I liked it. It was fun. He's not playing center field. I'm gonna there's no way Dubman is a center fielder for the Colorado Rockies. But I think you're onto something. There is more to unlock. I would say that he is struggling with the fastball because, if you look at his pull percentage, we talked a little bit about this off air. The pull percentage is at 40%. He's hitting for power, 5 home runs, 7 doubles, 2 triples, 4 doubles, 2 triples in this season. but he's already like matched his last year's production before he went on the IL. But there's the pull percentage is sub 40%, opposite field 42%. So is he catching up to the fastball? Is he able to hit it? Is he able to hit it for power? I think those numbers, just based on those, no. And I think that's something he's working on.
There's no way it's not, though, right? If you see a guy who can't hit a fastball, you're not going to give him like change ups. You're going to be, all right, you're hitting 180 against a fastball. We're going to give you straight fastball.
No, I think you're still pitching. He can still foul it off. Like you can still catch up. Like you see your fastballs. He's going to be able to time it up, right? Like he is that kind of a talent. You still got to throw the off speed and that kind of stuff. So there's got to be something there. And fastballs are different in the majors than they are in the Eastern League. Like they're going to play a little bit different. So I think that would be like the only thing that I would put a little notch in, like a little concern tab there.
I'd love to see him versus like Dolander. Just
and maybe that's something I need to watch a little bit for like, all right, who is he facing? Who are the big dogs? Who throws the triple digits on the other team?
It's tough.
How does he fare against it?
We don't have that for AA yet. We have it for AAA, like miles per hour, but we don't. I look every single time. I try and but I don't want to make a one game. Oh, he had a home run off of a 100-mile-per-hour pitch.
Are the goats home? Are the goats at home this week? Yeah, we got Bouncing Pickles. Dooley does a great job of giving exit velocities and mile per hour on the fastball, or like what's being thrown. So like if you're able to listen, it is there. And I'm not saying that
we'll talk to somebody in Hartford. We'll get the notes.
We should get somebody on there. But like, I think that would be the one thing. Maybe that's my homework this week, is just looking at all of the Zach Veen at bats and clipping them and seeing, all right, what's the fastball look like? Probably not this week, maybe in a few weeks when I got a little bit of a break. But I think that would be the only real concern. And that also might be kind of a leftover worry for him from the wrist injury. Like, all right, like, is it like a subconscious thing, or can I move it this quick?
His bat speed's there. Like,
it is.
A report for this season is like, hey, the bat speed's back. Not back, but it's there. So,
but is it there for power? Like, those are two different things. And he has this big looping swing, very Carlos Gonzalez like, which is beautiful. But is he able to get that high 95 up and in? Like, hardly anybody can do it, right? But I think that's what's going to separate him from being that much better. I think he's not in AA very much longer. I'm kind of curious how the Rockies play with the bats going forward. Like, where are they putting them? How are they promoting them? How are they growing them? Like, it's going to be interesting. Because
can I ask? This is not with Veen. How did Julio Carreras ever get on the 40-man?
His 2021 season, he had one really, really solid year.
Like, no offense to Julio, but minor leaguers on the 40-man normally are like insane players, or relievers that you want to have options.
And I don't know, and it might have been the crunch. Yeah, his 2022 season, where he got called up to Hartford because he dominated Fresno, and I think he was going to be Rule 5 eligible that year.
Oh, I see.
Spokane, 289, 352, 473. 11 home runs, 37 doubles. Like, there was a lot of potential with that extra base stuff. We don't have to get into that. This is a good pod. So it'll just be interesting. But the Rockies have 6. The Rockies have 6 in the top 100. The system is pretty top heavy in that sense. Like, there's not much coming up from behind there. Fresno is a little rough. Spokane has some talent, but Hartford is where it's at, and then you have the 4A guys, and I mean that endearing rather than derogatory.
4A guys are better than you will ever be, guys. People that be 4A guys, they're better than you will ever be. So like,
exactly. And so in Isotope, so the farm needs some work. It's there, and I think if you have what, 3 in the top 40. We're going to talk about that on Thursday with Tyler. So there is going to be some talent added. Like, you're going to have another top 100 guy being in the system. So things are looking up. Things are good
too, because I think we have some dudes that could be traded. Pitching.
Yeah, I know.
So,
that's another pod. That's a July.
Sure. All right. Let's get back
July pod. So we're at the 15-minute mark, 5-0. So
It's gloss.
What's a storyline you want to talk about in Spokane?
Spokane.
Let's go to high A.
Yeah, I mean, I would go with the pitching. I think it's been. I mean, obviously it's been good. No one's hitting in the Northwest League. Victor Orez had a great outing, completely robbed by scorekeepers who couldn't know what like they didn't fix it. It was an obvious error on Jorge, and then they didn't fix it. So it sat there at 4 earned runs, and you're looking. People will look at that and be like, "Oh, this guy didn't have a good outing." Probably one of the best outings all week was Victor Orez. He was dotting dudes up. His location on the fastball was so good, making sitting dudes down in the corners. I love it. Agnos had another weird game where it's just like Ghost Runner, I guess, is a blown save. So
yeah, and it doesn't count against your earned run. I covered that on the whip around. It was weird. I was reading it like, okay, how does this happen? You have 0 earned runs, but you gave up a run and you have a blown save. But it was that the error one though? I don't think it was a Ghost Runner. It was an error by the first baseman. Yeah, because ground ball. That was the one play-by-play I had. I think it was on Thursday or Friday. It was a ground ball to first base, got the guy out. Ghost Runner moved to third. Next bat, error by the first baseman, and the guy ended up scoring. So, just a terrible way to lose a game.
And the defense for them, Jorge has been not a shortstop for defense, and I say that nicely. Like he's gonna have to start hitting because his defense has been really struggling. And when I watch the games, I don't look at defense because it's really tough to gauge defense with the eye. Like I don't know,
especially with the camera work at CIA. It's rough.
But Jorge is like missing balls off bounces, like relay throws. He's missed a couple of those. He misses a couple of throws to first. It's stuff I can watch, and if I'm picking up on it enough, I think it's fair to say it's a trend. Yeah. So I mean, he's young; he'll fix it. But I do wonder if he's a second base guy. I mean,
I think he's up to 10 errors, like official errors this season.
And he had one that didn't count. That definitely should have been an error. Okay, well, we'll count that. There was a relay throw that he dropped that the away announcer said would have been. The other team's announcer said would have beat him by a mile if we got it. If
we actually had it.
Victor Orez should have had 0 earned runs that game.
Yeah, so I mean the arm bar in Spokane is insane. Yeah. Like Carson Skipper also. Let's go to Hartford real quick. Biggest storyline there, other than Carson Palmquist's 10 strikeouts.
I wanted to gloss over Ryan Ritter, he's a great glove and a league average hitter for the Eastern League, which is kind of the realistic expectations for Ryan Ritter. I feel like we don't talk about him enough, and there's my Ryan Ritter talk. I think his glove's great. His bat's not that bad. Like it started off with a lot of holes in the bats, but I think he's been hitting a lot of singles recently and turning 4 pitch at bats into 8 pitch at bats more often than not compared to the beginning of the year.
Yes. Yeah, he puts a professional bat up there. Like I'm not worried about a strikeout as quickly with Ryan Ritter as I am some of the other guys. A little worried about some of the starting pitcher there. Conover Skoyak has struggled out of the gates. Seth Halverson, so much good stuff, but he is struggling to find the zone. It's always shaky when he comes on. I really love Jaden Hill. His stuff is insane.
Jaden Hill, I will say this. I like
Barger.
I think Coupe. I wrote in the notes. I think Coupe. I don't never want to say someone's a reliever. The realistic. If we're looking at farm systems, most starting pitching in farm systems just becomes a reliever.
Yes.
And like there's only like 3 or 4 in every system that becomes a starting pitcher. I think Coupe is I think he's going to be such a good reliever. And I'm so excited about him becoming when he becomes a reliever, so that sliding curveball.
Just dominating balls.
Oh, it's going to be so good, man. I'm so excited for that.
Could you imagine seeing Coupe in the 7th and then come in back into the 9th and seeing Jaden Hill, just 2 completely different looks for those batters? It's gonna be great. I mean, there was your Fresno storyline, and then Spokane or Albuquerque. Drew Romo has to be the talk of the town. Like Tolio did his thing; he's expected to. One thing I'm watching on the whip around is his walks to strikeout rate. Michael Tolia's he had 4 walks to 5 strikeouts this week. I just want the walks to be higher than the strikeouts. Again, kind of what we're talking about. Like, what are you actually going to work out? But Drew Romo, if he can keep this up for 2 to 3 weeks, Rockies have every reason to trade Diaz and Stallings, and we have a Romo
getting coffee in Wrigley Field somewhere.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing a trend in the major league of trades happening before the deadline because, like, your players have more value right now. Like, you get more value.
This might be
if you
peak
trade them in
right
May.
now.
Like, let's just be real. Like, that's why Arise was traded because you're just losing value on a potential playoff push if you wait 2 months. Now they have them for 2 extra months. So I do wonder if a trade's in the cards. If we make a trade between now and the end of the month, I'm fully on board the Bill Schmidt train. Like, that would be like me being like, okay, I backed you a lot. You do that. That's a sign of the times. Or times changing. So there you go.
Yes. I think Rockies Nation would love it. I think that might switch some of the.
Really? I think they'd be like, we're on pace to have the worst season ever. Why are we trading our best catcher?
They're gonna find something to bitch about. All right, and then let's end it with the promos brought to you by Daily Controls. My bad, Mr. Daily. Daily Controls LLC.com.
We're sponsored by Grant now. No,
right? We can have 2. Grant, you too. Send your eBay. Daily Controls, robotics, automation, all of it. Buttons don't blink. I'm going to St. Louis as a Rockies media for at least one night in a few weeks. Daily Controls is sponsoring that trip, so thank you, Daily Controls, for allowing that to happen.
We're on the move.
We're trying some things. We're gonna have media people. Noah's starting his gig in Denver in 2 weeks. Brought to you by Daily Controls. Like, Daily Controls is allowing some of this stuff to happen. So huge shout out to him. All of your automation needs. Buttons don't blink. Robots don't robot. He will travel to you. He would love to go out to Hartford. So if you're in Hartford and you're listening, holla at your boy.
Yeah.
So
there's a promo that's perfect for you, by the way.
Oh, Doyle! Oh, Doyle got robbed. Dang it! That was so close. That would have been triple. So huge shout out to Daily Controls, who brings you the promotions of the week. What do we got on the docket, Mike?
All right, we'll start in Albuquerque, and we have 3 homestands. We go Albuquerque, Hartford, and Spokane. So Fresno, no more Stephen Rice to listen to. Sad, but next week we'll get him. Grant, this one's for you. They have baseball card night. They're giving out baseball cards to the first, I think, 1,000 people entering. So there you go, Grant. Maybe go on eBay and buy some. I don't know if it's special, but I think it's just a team pack, which is always fun. I pulled a Jaden Hill autograph out of the Fresno team pack, so there's that. Hartford, Tuesday, Bouncing Pickles night. Greatest night of the year. Like, if you ask me, like,
did you see those cleats? Did you see those cleats on Hartford's social?
Yeah, we need the whole team wearing those.
That would be sick. Those are definitely Zach Veen. Jake Cave. Every time I don't want to like the guy, he just goes and performs.
Don't look at a slash line. Sunday, we have Kids Run the Bases, which doesn't love running the bases, you know? And then for Spokane, only one I can really see, we have Tuesday, Bark in the Park, which who doesn't love dogs? So there you go. That's your promos of the week brought to you by Daily Controls.
And Thursday, so actually a fun story there. Thursday has if you hit a grand slam home run and you win the game, a lucky fan gets $10,000. One of our very first interviews was with Mike Boyle in like 2021. He's the voice of the Spokane Indians. And he was telling the story of somebody winning the grand slam. It actually happened. It might even been like back-to-back years it happened.
Well,
I might have to go.
Trejo, they did that with Trejo, and I think he hit 2 grand slams in one night. Albuquerque. It was like you win a car, and he hit 2 of them in one night, and then he gave 2 cars. But
that's awesome. So go to the ballpark. Go any reason to go see baseball. Why not try to?
Doesn't have to be Rockies. It could be any.
It can be anything. The minor leagues are so much fun. It's cheap. It's calm. Like, it's just a good time. Family.
Me and my friends are already talking about doing like dollar dog night at the local Tampa Tarpons. So.
Do it and live stream how many hot dogs you eat. So
yeah, I think I can do it once.
Daily Controls can probably sponsor about 25 hot dogs if we need it.
There you go. That's money well spent too, Mr. Daly.
I'll talk to him in St. Louis. We'll make something happen. But anything else for the good of the cause? A little bit different of a road to Blake Street this week. So thank you for hanging out with us. Thursday, Tyler's coming on. He's been busy. I think he's wrapping up all of his stuff. We are doing college talk, college prospects, draft stuff. Tyler's baby. So come hang out with us on Thursday. And as always, go Rocks. Make sure you hit the buttons. Minor League affiliates. Woo! Thank you for watching and listening. Please check